On this week's GTA 5 o'clock, could we soon be seeing the Virgo and Buccaneer in GTA Online? Our theories and speculation on the single-player DLC? And how could the casino heist be built into the story? It's all here on this week's GTA 5 o'clock. Hello and welcome to this week's GTA 5 o'clock. I'm your host James Jarvis and I'm joined this week by Ian, Mr. Trophy Wilson.
Hello.
Hello, Ian. As mentioned at the end of last week's show, this week we're going to speculate on what we think is going to happen in the GTA 5 single-player DLC. It's going to be speculations, what we think. Some of you would already have covered and read about if you're regular on some of the GTA forums and Reddit and all of those places. But we haven't covered it in the show yet, so we're going to go through a couple of the things and just expand on them a little bit. So hopefully it doesn't slow down the hype train. I mean, you should slow it down a bit because there's still not any new news about the single player DLC. But as Epic on GTA Forums said, don't worry, we're not going to be counting the hairs on a cat or the freckles on Jimmy's face and telling you about them.
Good.
So we're gonna do some speculation. Just before we get into that, there has been some small rumours today. We're recording this at about 3 o'clock. We waited right up until the wire in case something else happened.
Yeah.
But it hasn't. Small rumours about upcoming stuff in a DLC pack, probably for GTA Online, codenamed Low, and the possibility that this could include 12 new vehicles, including the Virgo and the Buccaneer. And it maybe they're lowrider themed, maybe they're after the high stakes stuff and ill-gotten gains, maybe they're really low end stuff, like cheaper vehicles, more stuff from like, you know, when Franklin was growing up his neck of the woods and that kind of thing. But that's all speculation and rumor at the moment, stuff that we're good at, but we're not going to cover that this week. We're going to get into the single player DLC. So what do we know so far? Well, Franklin has been back in his mocap suit. We know that. We've seen a picture of him. He's posted it on his Instagram profile. Behind a Grand Theft Auto Vice City poster. But I don't think we should read too much into that.
No, that's just probably just where he was at the time.
Yeah, it's probably just decoration in the Rockstar booth, wherever he was. So he says in the text underneath, "You all know why I've got this suit on."
Shh.
Yes, and a shush at the beginning. So he's talked about working on GTA 5. Everyone's saying DLC. We should say additional content, I guess, because it might just be for some of the online stuff. He could become an NPC that you interact with, and he gives you missions and things. I'm not quite sure, but he said before back in December that we're working on the DLC, downloadable content for Grand Theft Auto 5. That's my real big thing to do on his list. He's going to finish that up first in December. And now in last month, the end of last month, the 24th, he said, "You all know why I've got this motion capture suit on." So whether they're doing additional motion capture for the GTA single player stuff, that's pretty late on in development to be doing extra stuff. So I wouldn't imagine it was all fresh things. Maybe there's a couple of additional animations they need to go and do, and they've had to call him back to do some stuff.
Sure.
That is, of course, if he is going to be in the single-player DLC.
Yeah.
He might just be in GTA Online in some capacity. We don't know. So that's basically what we know. We know Rockstar have said that substantial additions for Michael, Franklin, and Trevor's adventures are coming to South San Andreas.
Yeah.
They said that was coming
2014 originally.
Yeah, I mean they've missed that date.
Yeah, just a bit.
But they've had a lot on, you know, the GTA Online stuff,
exactly,
and all of that stuff, and bringing it to PS4 and next gen and PC. So it's all going to have probably a knock-on effect. We also know that Rockstar, of course, working on another game that isn't GTA 5, which we think is possibly the next Red Dead in the series. So that would be like the third Red Dead game.
Technically
the third one. So they're possibly a bit of a team are working on that. But there's bound to be loads of dedication for GTA because of the ongoing online stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously they need to get these single player DLC stuff out. So what do we know? Well, we think from Fun WM2, who is a big time member on the GTA forums and has got a lot of Twitter following and has suggested some of these things before, that we might be seeing a familiar face in the DLC, whatever form that takes of single-player DLC. You know, the heist missions that we got, the heist pack, we had Agent 14 who comes in, gives you all of the heist stuff. He's a bit of a shady character. I don't really know where he's come from. It looks like we might get him again in the single-player DLC.
Right.
So he's the first time we saw him was in the heist update when he gave us all the stuff. But now Fun WM2 seems to think that because of some code in the GTA 5 game now that mentions the Agent 14 coming in, and the code is different to what he is in the online component of the game.
Sure.
So it looks like that he might be appearing in some capacity in the single player world. And I guess the expansion you make from that is, well, if he's appearing in the single player world, it's got to be of some kind of add-on.
Yeah.
The add-on single player DLC.
It's got to be something new.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good thing. It means we might get to see a bit more of him, expand his character a bit much. If he is going to be in the game, then you would assume that this means the single player DLC is going to be set after the main game.
That would make sense.
Whereas previously we thought if they were going to have him, it'd be nice to have some prologue stuff.
Yeah.
Where I'm not quite sure how Franklin would tie into that, but definitely Michael and Trevor could be seen doing these big jobs before they, before Michael went south and decided to turn everybody in for his lovely life in the hills.
Exactly.
So the DLC that is coming up has a potential code name as well. That's surprisingly called Agent.
Wow.
Well, I know.
Definitely
Make that
won't
connection.
cause any confusion with Rockstar with that.
No, definitely not. And this seems to suggest from the same post that this is going to star Trevor.
Right.
And that he could be going undercover with the IAA or the FIB. Because some of the potential mission start points have been found, and they're like outside those buildings,
right,
and that kind of thing, and there's going to be some interactions with them.
Okay.
What this would mean for Trevor, like why he would be doing that, I'm not sure. Like, he's obviously got Trevor Phillips Industries to take care of. There could be a lot of, you could tie anything into that you wanted, really, like the FBI or the IAA. You could say we've got this, the other gangs, like the Chinese gangs, or we've got the Lost gang
as well,
bringing in weapons caches, and they're gonna take over this territory. You've got to go and stop them, or we're gonna shut down your illegal tax stealings, or whatever they want to do. So they could blackmail Trevor into doing something like that. I guess what we would say is it strange that we're hearing just Franklin being in the recording studio rather than, and the motion capture suit, rather than all three of them together? It would, I guess, sort of mean that they could be doing separate pieces of DLC where the three characters don't really interact with each other. But then to build a game on such interactions in the first place, with all three characters and switching between them and things, that might be weird, just to go back to the single character experience.
Just focus on them. Yeah, maybe.
Unless there's some new guys like Agent 14 that you can switch to.
Oh.
In each one.
Interesting.
I mean that could happen. Of course, it could all be sort of staged and Rockstar slowly releasing this info. Like, I mean, Cara Delevingne, when she was doing the radio stuff, she put stuff on Instagram. That was all like building up towards the release of the announce of the radio stations and the music and who's going to be on it and stuff. So what it could mean, of course, is that it is leading towards some kind of announcement. They're building the hype now.
Right.
To say, you tweet that, in the next month we'll do another thing, lead up to hey, it's coming, here's a date, here's a trailer, boom.
Yeah, possibly.
We will see. There are rumours of another piece of DLC as well, a second piece that they could be working on simultaneously, I guess, or, trying to release one after the other, which would follow the same pattern as Ballad of Gay Tony and Lost in the Damned GTA 4. That had
two-step thing.
Two big packs. It would make sense. They've had that history of doing it before. Why this one should have two big packs as well. This one allegedly is codenamed Zombies. I don't know about the codename Zombies.
No.
Especially if you're going to have it featuring zombies. Yeah. It's not much of a codename.
No, exactly, yeah. It's the opposite of a codename.
But all these things are obviously subject to change.
Yeah.
And everything. There was another potential heist location featuring the casino in all of this code as well.
It's what everyone wants, isn't it?
It is what everyone wants, yes. But then if you're going to have heists in the single-player DLC, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Because, they're a massive part of the single-player game and people want to do them again. They were some of the best bits of those missions. And it's going to involve the casino, which is what everybody wants. Then that is definitely going to have to be set after the main game.
Yeah.
Because you don't want people coming into the game going, I played the DLC, I've got loads of money.
Exactly.
Turn up as Franklin and he suddenly got no money again.
Yeah. It was the flip side of that is if it's set after the main story, they're all pretty rich. I mean, in my save, I think they've all got about $45 million dollars each. So there needs to be some sort of motivating factor to bring one or more of them back together again to actually rob the casino.
Exactly. So do you think in buying the single player DLC, there's a way that game and that Rockstar could engineer it to take money back off you? So saying, you've got X amount of money in your single player game, 45 million. That DLC starts with maybe all three of them, maybe one of them, in a casino, maybe in the casino, doing a big bet. Michael's drinking, he's back on his luxurious lifestyle. He's just I'll just put 20 million on black.
Right.
And he loses, and he's like, whoa, and then it all comes out of your bank. You see it just going, gone,
wow.
20 million gone. And then they have to come up with some kind of grand plan to get that money back.
Yeah.
So Michael obviously come out of that really annoyed at the casino for somehow duping him out of 20 million, even though it's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
It's 49-51 actually in favour of black if you're ever betting.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I think for some reason.
Good tip.
But yeah, so then he could try and go back to, Michael, Trevor and Franklin to get back together, try and get his money back.
Yeah.
Could be a way of doing his sort of arc through the thing.
Yeah, it would something like that would definitely give it make more sense and actually give them a reason to go back into that, because obviously at the end of the single player story they're all kind of we've done all this crazy stuff and it's time to kind of chill out and not do any of that mad stuff anymore. So that would give them motivation to get back into it.
Well, I guess you could quite easily see Trevor in his arc ending up in jail somehow. And I imagine through all that stuff, to bail him out is going to cost you quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you get, he loses all his money by going into jail. Someone has to go in and bail him out.
Right.
You get a bit more of the dynamic there of going, I've just paid 10 million to get you out of jail.
Yeah.
Maybe that will work. I don't know how Franklin loses all his money.
No.
But he might somewhere along the line. Or, they are just separate stories and these guys don't get back together. But it feels to me like if you're going to have all three of them in the main game, you want to have at least bits of them coming in and out of the DLC.
Yeah. It would seem crazy to have just one of them completely in isolation for the whole thing.
So that is basically some things to think about for the GTA 5 single player DLC. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and get in touch with us on Twitter at GTA Video Clock and on Facebook at facebook.com/GTA Video Clock. And we'll be back next week at 5 p.m. right here on the channel and on the GamesRadar Plus channel. So we will see you there.